So today's talk is about 18FT 305 basics of fiber yarn and fabric manufacturing, and we are at unit 3 yarn manufacturing. Now in the lesson 2 we will talk about the introduction about the ginning, the blow room, carding, combing, drawing, simplex and ring spinning system. We will see the different processes, principle of operations and applications. Now cotton yarn, what we see, it is getting produced from an agricultural product, that is the lump of cotton or cotton seed. So how this lump of cotton or the cotton seed is getting converted into a cotton yarn? What are the basic processes involved into this? So those basic processes we will see here in terms of ginning, blow room, carding, combing, drawing, simplex and ring spinning system. Different machineries are used for this, and there are different purposes and different applications of such machines. So those things we will see in lesson 2. Now cotton spinning is a very broad term, and as you can see a schematic view of the cotton spinning system. It starts from the cotton bale or cotton mixing different bales, then it goes into the blow room section, then from blow room it goes to the carding section it goes into the draw frames, then there is a particular frame is called the roving or speed frame, and after that the yarn or the package goes into the ring frame where the actual yarn is getting produced, and finally it is getting twisted. So this is in a nutshell the schematic view of cotton spinning. Different machineries are involved into this system. Let us see different machines and how it works. So as I have already mentioned, that cotton ball, and that cotton ball has to be processed. Okay. So there are different processes mentioned here. So when you do the ginning process, linters or some trashes will be generated, then cotton bale will be there, and we have seen different machineries that how it is getting converted by the spinning process into the cotton yarn. So those kind of processes we will see in this particular lesson. Let us see that what are the different kind of processes involved and what are the different output level. Now cotton bale, when you are talking, this cotton bale is fed into the blow room and the output is the lap. Then lap is the input of the carding and output material is carded sliver. Similarly, the carded sliver is given to the drawing operations, and drawn slivers are getting produced. And drawn slivers are produced, it goes into the simplex, and the roving is the output of that. And from that roving output, the manufacturing process is ring spinning, and that yarn is getting produced out of it. And spinning bobbin, ultimately after winding it goes into the cone. So this is in a overview the cotton spinning operations, how it goes into this. Now cotton, when you are talking spinning process flow, if you try to see how it goes. So this is the process flow, as we have already mentioned in this, that is a mixing, blow room, carding, drawing, okay, and then the lap formations will be there. Then after that drawing, it goes to the roving, then goes to the ring spinning, and finally to the winding. So this is the process flow. Now let us start with the first operation, that is called the cotton ginning. So these are the schematic view and the photograph of the ginning operations, and what does it do? What is the objective of cotton ginning? Let us see. Now cotton ginning operations, it quickly and easily separates cotton fibers from their seeds, enabling much greater productivity than manual cotton separations. Next comes the blow room. So what is the different conditions of blow room, how it operates? Now the main objective is to open the compressed layer of a bale of cotton or any staple fibers with minimum damage to the fibers. So basic objective of blow room this is. And as we can see that different bales are getting processed. So here removal of the impurities is the main process of attraction here. And what are those impurities? Impurities like sand, seed, beads, snaps and short fibers present in the cotton with minimum loss of lint. And how it does? It is by opening and blending. So these are the different operations happened into the blow room system. Now as we can see, the blow room operations are going on. So what are the different type of effects? To effect a thorough blending with minimum naps formations. So this is one of the objective of blow room. So thorough blending should be there of cotton fibers, and nape formation will be minimum into that. Now you can see that conversion, how the conversion takes place in blow room. To convert the mass of cotton fibers into a uniform thick sheet of cotton, both longitudinally and transversely, and fed as it is in the case of chute feed system, or wound in the form of a completely built up lap with minimum lap rejections. So this is the conversion of different form in the blow room operations. As we can see, the blow room operations are there in the photograph. Intensive de-dusting of cotton fiber happens to extract micro dust in order to improve the working of opened spinning machines. So that is one of the objective of the blow room. Now in the blow room operations, what are the other things happened? Fiber recovery from the waste produced by various processes, the conversion of the fiber to yarn in order to reduce the consumption of the raw material. So a lot of recovery of the fibers happens in the process of blow room. Now let us go into the next process, that is called the carding operations. What happens in carding? As you can see the figures of the carding operations, and what does it do? This is the process of separating the individual fibers by what? By using a series of dividing and redividing steps that causes many of the fibers to lie parallel to one another, while also removing most of the remaining impurities. So that is carding. Now in the carding operations, the schematic view is shown here. Two closed surfaces have opposite y directions here, and their relative motions or speed directions is also opposite, and then the two actions among two surfaces is termed as carding action. So carding action is done between cylinder and flat as is shown in the figure. Now let us go into the next process, that is the combing process. What does it do? This is process of attenuating the loose assemblage of fibers called sliver. And how? By passing it through a series of rollers, thus straightening the individual fibers and making them more parallel. So that is the combing operations. Then comes the drawing operations. What do you mean by drawing? Now as you can see, the drawing operations is on. It eliminates the short fibers. It achieves better parallelization of the fibers, straightens the curls and removes naps and residue impurities. So those are the basic objectives. Main purpose is to get the parallelizations and get some attenuation. So it becomes thicker to the thinner fibers. Now, as the schematic view says that how the drawing operations is there. So first it is thick, the assembly of fibers is thick and slow movement, and finally it becomes thin and output get faster. So each pair of rollers spin faster than the previous one. That is the main objective of drawing. Then only the drawing operation will take place. Simplex is the next process. As you can see that how the machine operation is there in the simplex machine. The guide rollers, then again the drafting rollers and aprons are used for better guiding. Then ultimately the roving package is getting produced. So commonly used simplex machine for cotton is fly frame or the speed frame. So that is the simplex operations. Now there are three basic steps in the simplex or the roving frame. Number one is the drafting, that again the thicker to the thinner fiber assembly. Then the twisting gives some sort of strength to the fiber assembly, and finally the winding operations. Now simplex machine, when you are talking, this is the machine before you. The process minimizes the sliver weight to a suitable size for spinning into yarn and inserting twist, which maintains the integrity of the draft strands, that is shown in figure. And finally comes the ring spinning process. As you can see that how the yarn goes into the spindle, the roving frame. And three objectives again for ring spinning. What are those? Number one, to draw the roving to the desired degree of fineness. Then comes the next one in this ring spinning operations. So next process in this objective is to impart the sufficient twist to the emerging strand of fibers to continuous yarn. So continuous yarn is produced by giving sufficient twist. And finally the third objective is to wind up the spun yarn into some convenient package form. So that is also important. Okay. So this is the ring spinning operations happened in spinning, and you can see that image, and also you can see that how the operation takes place in the spinning. So that is the ring spinning system. So if you try to summarize the total lesson, we can see how cotton is getting converted from the cotton seed or cotton fiber into cotton yarn. So we have seen a series of processes which are involved into this, starting from the fiber bales and opening of the fiber bales, blending takes place, trash is getting removed, then picking, and finally through the blowroom operations it goes to the carding zone. So transfer of fibers takes place, and then the sliver is getting produced there. Ultimately from the sliver frame it goes to the roving operations, that is from drafting zone to the roving, or the drawing zone to the roving frame. So roving bottom is there, and then the particular roving package is subjected to the ring spinning operations, and ring spinning is getting happened there. So we get the cotton spun yarn. So in this particular lesson we have seen that how the cotton is getting converted, that is the ring spun yarn, we get it through a series of operations, starting from the blowroom, then comes the carding operations, then comes the drawing operations, then simplex or roving, and finally the ring spinning operations. So these are the different steps involved. The majority of cotton processing industry, they follow these steps in the industry, and various modifications they have done specially to control the short fibers generations and particularly the level of humidity, how they control, so the fiber breakages will be less in this zone. So those are the things actually are important to control the cotton spinning industry, and most of the spinning mills are now modernized and a lot of suction arrangement are there so that the short fibers cannot be there in the atmosphere, so it has been sucked out. Okay, so proper health and hygiene is getting maintained there. So those are the operations involved in this spinning operations. So thank you very much.